I'm Jacqueline Johnson.
And I'm Marina Middleton.
And this is Work Party, a podcast that's part work and part party. Work Party celebrates a new generation of women who are redefining the meaning of work on their own terms and having fun while doing it.
In this podcast, we are diving into all the areas of being a working woman: mind, body, and business. No topic is off limit.
Real talk and hot takes. Think of us as your internet work wives. This is Work Party,
the podcast.
Wait, where's the champagne? Welcome back to Work Party. We're diving into a topic today that I swear every single ambitious woman I know quietly frets about: dating while you're absolutely crushing it. We're talking about finding the sweet spot of partnership and passion while still owning your lane. It's that whole thing of how do you cultivate that good magnetic energy with a partner when you're already thriving on your own? We have the perfect person here today who really lives in this world. Our guest today knows all about it. She went from working in high finance and biz dev at places like Skybridge Capital, and now she's chief operating officer at the Bevy, a super high-end matchmaking service helping successful people find really conscious, aligned relationships. So she's seen it all, from the boardroom to the first dates. And I'm so pumped to finally chat with Katie Lloyd, COO of the Bevy, all about dating in this wild modern era, the idea of masculine and feminine energy and the role it plays, and how to find a real connection without totally losing yourself in the process. Welcome, Katie. We're so excited to have you. So just to kick it off, give us a quick overview of what the Bevy is, how it works, the business, all the things.
Yeah. So we are a bespoke matchmaking service, as you guys know, and primarily based in New York, LA, SF, and Miami. And we work with men as clients. We don't charge women. That said, I meet with thousands of incredible women every day. And everyone, I would say, generally speaking, is successful in their own right, passionate about many things, went to good schools, come from good families, just very quality. Kindness is super important, of course. You know, like I just generally don't like working with a-holes.
Yeah, truly. I think that's a quote from your Work Party book.
Yeah,
like,
don't be a pleasure to work with.
Yeah.
I think that's like, life is too short. I enjoy waking up and loving the people that I work with.
Totally.
And then, yeah, everyone's looking for a long-term committed, I like to say monogamous relationship now because it's 2025 and, you know, to each their own, but that just happens to be who we work with.
Yeah, I love that model of just the men are paying and not the women, but it's also really cool just to hear how independent and successful all of them are. And now they're just like coming together. And so knowing that all of our listeners are these really driven, strong, independent women, sometimes it is still complicated to like put yourself out there. And it's just the dating world has changed so much. And so where you sit, what is that you believe one of the biggest hurdles for high performing women when they are trying to find love?
That's such a good question. Okay, before I address the biggest hurdle, there's definitely a myth around this that I hear from a lot of very successful women. And it's that men are intimidated by successful, powerful women.
So you think that's a myth?
I do.
Okay.
It's not true. I mean, I meet and work with so many men who specifically tell me that they're looking to meet a partner who is a co-conspirator. Mm. And so, sure, of course, that's not always the case. So I'm not saying it's not 100% not true. But it's definitely not the biggest hurdle. I think that the right man isn't going to be intimidated by your success. You know, he's going to be inspired. It's beautiful when a person is in their power. I think also that when we step into our power more, we're less likely to then choose people who aren't in alignment with that. Yeah. And so then I would say, the biggest hurdle that successful women are facing, it's not so much that they're successful, it's that we are conditioned to believe that we have to choose between success and softness. And I think that there's so much power in, you know, in that softness, in that feminine energy as well. But when you're in business, you lead with logic, and in love, you lead with energy. So it's really important to differentiate between the two.
Yeah.
I think it's hard to switch one on and off. Like, I think that's so true. And so it's funny, I did a podcast with Morgan DeBon, who's the founder of Blavity. And this is when I was like single. And she was saying she met her husband when she really leaned into her feminine energy. And I was talking to her about dating, and she just kept saying to me, do less, do less, do less. And she was like, you have to lean back and like be in your feminine energy of like, because I used to be like, when someone would text me, like, let's go here, I'd be like, no, let's go here. Like all the time of like just not letting someone lead, because that's your day-to-day is like making decisions, pushing things forward, having a plan. And so I think the switch on, switch off is like definitely challenging, but I do think it is what makes the difference when you're going out to find someone. So when you're matching someone, I guess one question I have is like, what are you looking for in terms of like the like-mindedness? Like, what are the things that you're like, okay, these two I think would be a good match?
Can I address one little thing that you said there that was just like, you said do less. And I do feel like it's not so much about doing less, but about letting in more. So more trust, I think, is a big piece of it. Trusting that somebody else can make the decisions and pick the spots and whatever it is. It's about more presence as well. So maybe less about doing less and more about like being more.
I think I was doing the most. So I think I needed to personally do less, but yes. But it's true, like leaning in more to like let things happen and letting go. And because I think also one of the things I was going to say is my thought of the biggest hurdle is time, because I think we're so busy, and dating in many ways, like you have to put yourself out there and like you have to actually go places and meet people. So that's time consuming as an entrepreneur. And I think like we've gotten to the point where you'll go on a date, at least this is some of my friends, and within the first 5 minutes, they're like, no.
Yep. I hear that all the time. They're like, I know within the first 5 minutes. And I'm like, you don't.
You don't. Like you really
I understand
don't.
Your time is so precious and valuable, and it's, a finite resource at the end of the day. But every date that you go on, like it's feedback. It doesn't have to be, is this my person? Is this the one? Like you chose to be there, be present. It's a drink or, whatever it is. So yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
Write it out.
We always used to say it's data, right?
Yeah.
Like it's like now you know what you like and what you don't like.
Exactly.
I think it's just the reps of it could get really exhausting, right? Like in business, you're like, okay, cool, this deal didn't work through, next. Like, okay, this person said no. But it's just so personal,
right?
When it comes to dating, but
it can definitely be emotionally draining, and you can get fatigued easily, especially when things like the apps have given us these like endless possibilities. You could go on a date every night of the week if you wanted to. So while yes, you have to put in the reps, you can be selective with like where you're choosing to spend your time and your energy.
Totally. Yeah. So I'm curious to Jacqueline's question. What are the two pulls that you like would make a good match?
Okay. The two pulls that would make a good match. Oh, wow. Okay.
Right? That's how you asked it?
Yeah. Well, the thing that you're like, okay, these two would go on a date.
Because I meet everyone in person for the most part, and I'm learning about people, and they're telling me their stories and what they're looking for and their goals and their aspirations and whatever it is, what they want to build. It's like I'll sit down with somebody and it'll be the perfect echo chamber of what the last person said. And I'm a big like, feel like do things based off your intuition, your gut, that sort of thing. And so sometimes I'll just be sitting in front of someone and I'm like, wait, you guys are saying the exact same thing. You're looking for the exact same thing. Like you guys just have to meet. And at the end of the day, I can't predict chemistry, of course, but I do feel like we have so much data on both parties that sometimes it doesn't make sense for it not to work. So it's like 2 parts science with all the data and then 1 part intuition.
Yeah, I would say, I think that's so true. I think the hardest part about dating online is like the in-person component, how someone talks, how they show up, how their mannerisms are. And like you only experience that in person. So having someone vet that in person and know, I think is so valuable like over time, because I think that's the unknown, right? Is like you don't know how someone's going to be when you get there.
Exactly. And so again, meeting the people in person, it's like, okay, I can tell at the bare minimum whether I think you two are going to get along. you know?
Yeah, totally. So let's zoom out and talk about the state of dating, specifically right now. Obviously, there's the apps, there's ghosting, there's pure like decision fatigue. Everyone is also just feeling overall burnt out.
Yeah.
What are the biggest shifts that you're seeing happening in what we call now modern dating, especially for people who are actually like emotionally smart and intentional, right?
Yeah. Okay. So right now, I think we are in a fascinating era when it comes to dating because it's very clear that people want depth and connection, but they're also terrified of it.
You see this on men and women.
Men and women. You know, it's like sometimes it's like we have all of this information about ourselves when it comes to like attachment styles and whatever it might be. And that those also then become blocks and reasons why we don't connect with people, which I can get into later. But so the state of dating now and trends that I'm seeing, right?
Yep.
I would say that I've definitely seen a shift from people who maybe once used to chase, what's the word I'm looking for? Not just chemistry. They used to chase I guess it was chemistry. Chasing chemistry over alignment, incompatibility. So that's definitely shifted. I think people are definitely looking for like more of a calm energy when it comes to dating, you know.
Versus like an adrenaline.
Versus the adrenaline, exactly. And so I think that takes a lot of self-awareness instead of being like, okay, anxiety and whatever it is I'm feeling does not always equal compatibility, you know? There's more to it than that. I want something that's lasting. I want longevity at the end of the day. I want to feel safe and secure. I want to feel seen. So there's definitely a lot of awareness that I think has come to the foreground of dating. And I think it's beautiful. I don't think conscious dating is a trend. I think it's an active practice at the end of the day. So in every relationship you're in every date that you're on, it's checking in with yourself and asking yourself, how do I feel when I'm around this person?
Yeah, I love that. And I know you talked to
someone told me that advice and I really took it in. Like, do you feel calm? Do you feel like you're performing? Do you feel like you're in your business mode? Or it's so true. It's like, I think that what's feeding all of this is the algorithm, because my TikTok when I was single was like, it was like, he cheated on me as the worst case, like this ghosted this, and I was like, yes girl, like I was like completely in line. I was like, this is so true. And it's funny because now that I'm in like a happy relationship, it's like me and my boyfriend snuggled up. I'm like, I don't even know how it knows. Like, it's crazy.
You liked one photo, you flagged one thing,
and now I'm in the happy couple era. But I'm like, it is funny because I do think, to your point, when you're like, everyone's scared, I do think that's so true. Is like, because we're living in 24/7 content, public relationships, things falling apart, like, and everyone, you know, kind of blowing up these stories around horribly failed relationships.
Right.
So no one wants to be the one that gets hurt. And so I do think there is a lot of shielding there.
Right.
So you talked about conscious relationships and conscious dating. What are some ways that women can do that?
Okay, so some, I guess, subtle shifts that you can make when it comes to dating consciously. I feel like it's often like it's felt before it's heard or seen. So even just like me taking a deep breath there is like me taking a moment to kind of tune into my body. So before a date, it's maybe you're meditating for a minute, 5 minutes. Maybe it's a little breath work. Maybe it's just taking a deep breath and seeing how your body feels. Maybe it's as simple as, again, journaling after a date to see how you felt about that person. Or when you're on the date, like I said earlier, seeing how your body feels when you're with them. Before you go on the app or before you swipe, it's as simple as, asking yourself, am I doing this out of loneliness? Or am I doing this from a place of love? You know, am I bored and that's why I'm swiping? Or am I ready to connect?
I like that. You talked about attachment styles.
Mm-hmm.
So they're all very new to me. Jacqueline taught me like what attachment styles are, and even like love language, all of that stuff. If someone is not aware of attachment styles, what are they? And also, how does truly knowing your own attachment style completely change the way you show up on a date?
Mm-hmm. It's funny because basically after COVID, I started hearing everyone talking about them.
Yeah.
And I was like, did Oprah like release a book?
Yeah, like how did it come back?
What happened?
Don't
Yeah.
you feel like it's
like
like
younger guys, like in their 20s, because we have clients in their 20s into like their 60s, sometimes 70s. But a bunch of younger guys in their 20s started coming to me talking about attachment styles. And I was like,
so funny.
what is going on?
Yeah. It's like your attachment style, your love language, your Enneagram.
I love it.
Yeah,
I
like
love all of the
those
personality tests. They're my
Yeah.
favorite. So attachment styles are based on the idea that how we grew up with our parents, our dynamics with our caregivers, how that plays into our romantic relationships today. So there's secure attachment, there's anxious, there's avoidant, and there's disorganized. A secure attachment, an example of it would be, say your parents drop you off at school when you're, a kid, and you say, okay, I love you, goodbye. You go to class, everything's fine. You're secure. Say your parents drop you off and you start kicking and screaming and all the things, you're likely more of an anxious attachment style. And then if you maybe ignore them and go to class and, act like nothing happens, that's when you're avoidant. The disorganized is kind of a combination of the two. And it has to do with the way in which you, one, receive love, and two, the way that your caregivers helped you soothe when you were, going through something as a child. So the way that shows up in relationships today is if you are, say, an anxious person, then likely you need a lot of reassurance from your partner, or you seek a lot of reassurance from your partner in checking in with you and letting telling you what you're doing and that sort of thing. If you are avoidant, you kind of shut down when there's conflict. You go and you like self-soothe on your own. You don't communicate it, and that can be really triggering for someone who's avoidant.
Yeah, self-soothe is crazy.
Yeah,
Like
self-soothe is
a
that's
thing.
really what it is.
Adult. Like I love hearing it as an adult.
Yeah.
Okay, keep going.
I do it all the time.
Yeah,
I think you're avoidant.
I am. Yeah, I'm gonna tell you what I feel like
okay.
after you're done. Yeah, because it's very interesting. Like, yeah.
And the thing with attachment styles and I think misconceptions about them is that you're often turning to your partner to be the parent in that moment, and either help you soothe or whatever it might be. And that's not what they're for.
Mm-hmm.
If you're anxious, it's your responsibility to learn to self-soothe. If you're avoidant, it's your responsibility to learn to stay when you're uncomfortable. And when you're disorganized, well, as somebody who identifies as one,
You are?
It's very, very challenging, but it takes a lot of work to kind of go through it because you're dealing with both sides of it.
Yeah, it's so interesting. So it's funny because like when I first started dating my current husband, who now we're together almost 10 years, it's like, and in any relationships, I'm like, you tell me when you land. You tell me, like, when you wake up, you open your eyes and the first thing you do is text me. Like, if not,
You're
it's
dead.
over. It's over. No, but it's like, good night, good mornings. I like a check-in. I don't need to talk throughout the day, but just like those like checkpoints.
Yeah.
And whenever I didn't get them, it like my heart rate would literally increase, which was very interesting. And it would be these fights of like, this is what I need. And so now, it's like autopilot. He knows the drill. You know what I mean? Like, this is what you do. This calms me, all this stuff. And it works, but it's gotten to the point where I'm like, yeah, I'm definitely like out of sight, like, I'm just, what is the...
You're an anxious, now avoidant.
Yeah, I'm like anxious avoidant. I'm like,
now you have it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but it changes.
Yeah.
I was going to say that is one of the misconceptions about attachment styles is that they are fixed and that they're labels when really they're landscapes. It's information, it's data.
Yeah.
And depending on the relationship that you're in, it can kind of You could be secure and in a relationship with somebody who is, say, avoidant or whatever, and become more anxious.
But do you feel like people can be like, I'm so secure in life, like in my, you know, and like in
it doesn't matter.
My work, like how I show up professionally. Personally, I'm like, where's my text?
No, there
Where's my
are things,
affirmation?
and
Like-
that's something that I tell people a lot. I'm like, I do my homework with my clients and the women that I work with, and there's only so much information I can know.
Yeah.
There are certain things that are going to show up in a romantic relationship that I'm just not going to know. And that's when it's your part to know how you operate truly.
Know that.
To know what's going to work and what's not going to work.
Yeah, I was definitely an anxious forever, and now I'm definitely a secure. In the last, I would say 7 months of dating, or no, I guess before Mike, but like this year, I would say I've been more secure. Where I'm like, oh, that didn't work out. That's fine.
Yeah.
Like you didn't call me. No problem. Like
So normal. How
it's
nice.
so how nice. Okay, cool. You did the work for me. No problem. And it's like I think also with Mike, it was like when at the beginning when he was not texting or doing that stuff, it wasn't like I was like, I really need you to. I was just like, hey, listen, this is my style. This is what I need. If you can't do that, no problem. Or that feels like a chore to you, like all good. But like if you're not going to do that, like I don't know if this is a good fit. And it was like, I'll do that. And it was like,
That's
okay,
amazing.
great. Like it was, most people would have said no. And they're like, that's an unhinged text. But I was like, listen, we're all a little
Good for
unhinged.
you. I love that.
Yeah, you have to
were
be so
able to
direct.
communicate.
Yes.
Exactly.
Agreed.
It's nobody's job to read your mind.
Yes.
At the end of the day.
I love that.
You know?
Okay, so if someone's listening to this conversation is like, oh my God, I want to work with Bevy, what would be some advice you would give them before like reaching out, whether they're a man or a woman on both sides?
Before reaching out.
Yeah.
I would say the people that come to me that I think have the most success in this are people that are coming from a place of wholeness. And I'm not saying that you have to be perfect and know all the pieces before you start dating by any means, but you don't want to be dating from a place of like lack or loneliness, like we were talking. You want to be secure in knowing that like you are complete and perfect on your own as you are.
Yeah.
That's when you're going to start attracting people
right.
who are on that level as well.
I love that so much. So if you are interested in joining the Bevy, just list Jacqueline, Marina, or Work Party as your referral. And don't forget, membership is complimentary for women, of which we have a lot listening, I'm sure. That's it for Work Party. Until next time, we'll see you soon. Thanks for listening to this episode of Work Party. If you like what you heard, follow, leave a review, rate the pod, or slide into our DMs.
Check out the different ways you can create and cultivate on our website, createcultivate.com. From retreats and masterminds to our summits and festival.
We have different experiences to support you through your entrepreneurial journey from launch
to legacy.
Follow us at Create Cultivate on all platforms. And don't forget, work hard.
Party on.
Please note that this episode may contain paid endorsements and advertisements for products and services. Individuals on the show may have a direct or indirect financial interest in products or services referred to in this episode.